Bernard Whitman is a Democratic pollster. He is also a supporter of Mike Bloomberg. He joins us tonight. Bernard, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
I know a lot of Bloomberg supporters. Every one of them's on his payroll. And I asked the same question, which is, aren't you concerned about the corporate takeover of the country that he represents? And if you aren't, tell me what issues he's running on. They always point to gun control. And I think he's sincerely for gun control. How do you, and I'm sure you think that too, here's my question. If he's for gun control, why is he disavowing the single most effective gun control program ever put into place in this country, Stop and Frisk, which took thousands of illegal firearms off the street? How is he against that? I don't understand.
Tucker, let me explain. He's running on his record, and he's using his money to communicate what his record is. He was one of the most successful mayors that New York City has ever seen. And I think his biggest success was bringing people together. He brought people together after 9/11. He brought people together again after the Great Recession. He created almost 500,000 new jobs. He expanded health insurance to 700,000 New Yorkers that didn't have it. He actually cut incarceration rates by 40%. He reduced the carbon footprint. He turned around a failing school system. He raised the graduation rates. He got test scores up.
The carbon footprint?
Oh, yeah, hello. We're running.
Look, I lived in New York for some of that. What he did was lower the crime rate, which made all other good things possible. And he did do that. And he's not running on it. He's disavowing it. And he did it in part by taking illegal guns off the street. He says he's for that, but now he's not for it. So just explain in language I can understand what that means.
I think
How can he not be for gun control if he's for gun control?
He is for gun control, but Stop and Frisk ended up locking up hundreds of thousands of young black and brown men, putting them into the criminal justice system, and really creating huge problems for communities across the city. And I think what he understands now is there are a lot of unintended consequences.
So people with illegal guns shouldn't go to jail?
His motives were clear.
People with illegal guns shouldn't go to jail?
He was trying to get guns off the street.
I just want to ask you a policy question.
But there were a lot of unintended consequences of that, and hundreds of thousands of young black and brown men got caught up in the criminal justice system who do not have guns, who never should have been there in the first place. And he understands the impact that has had.
He's not really for gun control. Okay,
he is for gun control. He's done more for gun control than any other person in the country.
Okay, but now he's against it. But let me ask you this.
He's not against it.
His second issue is climate change. So he's big for climate change. It's not clear you can do anything about climate change, but whatever. Look at the polling on climate change. It's at the bottom of voter concerns. So it's wages, health care, opioids. He's got nothing to say about that.
Yes, he does.
He's running on an issue that's at the bottom of people's interests, and yet he's a viable candidate? How is that? If he wasn't rich, we'd laugh at him.
He's got a plan to lower prescription drug costs. He's got a plan to expand economic development in rural America and reach out to communities like manufacturing communities that Donald Trump was supposed to revive, which he's not. He's been working to put forward clean energy programs that are actually getting communities that have been ravaged by the coal industry back to work. The fact is there's tens of millions of jobs that are available in the green economy, and Mike Bloomberg is probably best positioned because he knows best about how to get the economy moving again. He's demonstrated that time and time again in his personal life. He did that as mayor of New York City, and he understands that our biggest threat to the country, to the world, is climate change. It's simply ignoring it and pandering.
But hold on. If he believes that, why is he flying in a private jet to Bermuda every weekend? A sincere question.
I actually don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to Bermuda that much because he's been
he flew to Bermuda every weekend for 3 terms. Hold on, slow down. Why is he flying in a private plane? I'm serious. If he really cares about climate change, that's the most destructive thing you could do if you think carbon is a pollutant. Why is he doing that?
I think you'd have to ask him, but I think you should talk to him about his record on fighting climate change. He's actually done more than this president or any other president to fight climate change. He very much is going to get us back in the Paris Climate Accords.
But if he wants to fight climate change, why doesn't he fly commercial?
I mean, that's an issue you'd have to discuss with him, Tucker. I'm not his pilot.
Well, are you bothered by it? It's so hypocritical. It's nauseating, isn't it?
I have a feeling when Mike Bloomberg is president, he's going to be spending a lot more time in Camp David than in Bermuda. And meanwhile, he's going to make America carbon neutral by 2050. He has a plan to, I think, bring renewable energy sources to America by 2028, cutting our electricity use significantly.
Did you ever think, like, if I'd asked you 3 years ago at the height of, like, the hysteria about Trump, your answer to Trump is going to be a 78-year-old male billionaire, you would have said, that's really kind of not what our party stands for, is it? I mean, that's like not the future,
my answer to Donald Trump is anybody that believes in bringing this country back together, that respects women, that respects gays, that respects minorities, that can put us back to work, that can lower health care costs, and actually unite the country. The biggest problem we have as a country is the divisiveness and negativity that has been propelled by Donald Trump. Mike Bloomberg has a demonstrated record of governing the largest city, most diverse city in the country, an ability to bring people together. That's exactly what this country needs.
I guess if you keep repeating the talking points, people
they're
sort
not
of
talking
nod
points.
like,
They happen
oh,
to be
that
reality.
must be true. But
this is how Mike Bloomberg.
Look, I mean this with respect. Like, you didn't answer a single one of my questions. Those aren't real answers, and you know they're not. The guy is buying the nomination, and we should be worried about that. The guy flies in a private jet and lectures me about climate change. Are you joking?
He's not buying the election.
It's absurd.
He is simply using his money to get his record out, and people can choose to support him or not. The fact is, 15% of the country is now supporting him.
You're going to need real answers if you want to be president. All right, Bernard, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tucker.